Okay. And thank you all for clicking whatever button Zoom asks you to click and sending it over to the wonderful, the fantastic, the brilliant. Should I stop? The amazing. Yeah. Wonderful Mariella Bravo. Thank you, Mariella.
Thank you, Brian. Such a great introduction. You bring so much levity to the group. So yeah, let's practice together. As many of you already did, if you like to turn off your camera or keep it on, and finding a comfortable position, something that is relaxed and alert. If you wish to close your eyes or simply lower the gaze, allow yourself to do that. We're going to practice for about 20 minutes or so. So finding a position that again is relaxed, alert, comfortable too. And I'm going to ring the bell 1 time at the beginning of practice and 3 times at the end of practice. So when I ring the bell, see if you can use this sound as an invitation to bring all of your attention to this moment, to the present moment. And you may want to start by taking a couple of deeper breaths. Taking a deeper inhale and a deeper exhale. Just bringing all of your attention to this moment, to the present moment. Inviting the body to soften, dropping down the shoulders, softening the jaw. And also take a moment to orient yourself in the space you're in. And you can do that by noticing the different sounds around you. Noticing smells, feeling the temperature of the space you're in. And bringing attention to sensations in the body. Feeling the different points of contact of the body with the chair, the cushion, the sofa. And with curiosity, bringing awareness to the different sensations in the back. In the sit bones area. Sensations in the legs, the soles of the feet. Just bringing all of your attention, your awareness to this moment, the body being here. Feeling the body from head to toes. And for the next few moments, just resting in the awareness of what does it feel like to be human right now? What does it feel like to inhabit this body? What's present with you in this moment? And with curiosity, bringing awareness to what's here. Sensations, thoughts, emotions. With kind attention, recognizing what's here. See if you can allow what's here to be here. As your attention is resting in sensations in the body, see if you can notice the natural rhythm of the breath in the body. Bringing all of your attention to the breath, to the sensations of the breath in the body. And resting your attention in whichever part of the body is the easiest for you to experience the breath in this moment. How do you know you're breathing? Maybe you know you're breathing when you feel the air coming in through the nostrils and leaving the body. Perhaps breath is most present right now in the chest area, rising and falling of the chest with each breath. Perhaps the belly area. So for the next few moments, just resting the attention in these sensations of the breath in the body. And bring curiosity to the moment-to-moment experience and notice characteristics of the breath. Notice sensations that are present with the inhale, sensations that are present in the exhale. Always also bringing a kind attention, noticing and feeling this moment with kindness. Very naturally, the mind will wander. It will get carried away with sounds, with images or thoughts. And that's very normal. The mind does that. And the invitation is to notice when the mind drifted away. And with a lot of kindness and gentleness, without judgment, bring the attention back to the anchor. This moment, the breath. Perhaps the attention is a little bit more settled by now. So bringing the attention to other sensations in the body. Taking a moment to acknowledge the overall state of the body. How is the physical body feeling right now? Maybe there is a word or a few words that describe the overall state of the body. Perhaps it's just a feeling, something that you acknowledge. See if you can recognize that and allow it to be exactly as it is, to the best of your abilities. Take a moment to also acknowledge the mind. The overall state of the mind. Is the mind feeling active, quiet. Maybe you can label it and maybe you find labeling can help us to find a little bit of space between the thoughts and ourselves. And taking a moment to acknowledge the overall state of the heart, emotional world. Notice what emotions are present right now. With kindness, with curiosity, acknowledging what's here. And now including in the awareness, sensations, thoughts, and emotions. And acknowledging that they're all here in this moment. Allowing all of it to be here. It's all welcome in this space. To the best of your ability, see if you can not wish that this moment is any different. Not judge what's here. And if you notice judgment, bring an awareness to that and not judge the judgment. Just witnessing all of it happen moment by moment and holding it with a loving awareness, an awareness that is kind, that is friendly. Remember that we do this just one moment at a time. See what would happen, what would it feel like, what does it feel like if you, for just one moment, not judge this moment, don't wish it to be any different. Just holding all of it. All the different parts of you are welcome in this space. And as we approach the end of this practice, I would like to end with inviting you to bring attention to gratitude and find something that you can be grateful for in this moment. Perhaps a part of the body, a person, a pet, an object, an event. Whatever that is, and notice how gratitude is experienced in the body. Where in the body do you feel gratitude? And notice and be present with gratitude. Savor the sensations of gratitude. And take a moment and find gratitude for yourself for having made the time to be here. You could have been doing something completely different, but you chose to show up for yourself, to be here, to give this time to yourself. I really invite you to honor this. It's easier to look the other way than looking inwards and being with ourselves. This is starting to feel to me like a heroic act of self-love, self-acceptance. And after the ring of the bell, see if you can continue being present for the rest of the day, bringing this kind of attention that is curious, that is kind, that is non-judgmental. And make the rest of the day a continuation of your practice. Thank you all for your practice, for being here. And I just really want to salute you all for really practicing. I don't say it lightly that this is something that feels heroic to me. More and more recently, I know being in community makes it easier, as Brian has said it, and we've said it in this space, but sometimes it's not the easiest thing. And so I really salute you for being here and doing this work together. And now I pass it on to wonderful, amazing, brilliant Brian.
Oh, thank you so much, Mariella. And thank you for leading us in the sit. And even though we didn't go anywhere, I'm still sitting in the same seat as I was 20 minutes ago. We did something. We did something. Yeah. And I'm so glad we did. Ah, okie dokie. Well, again, Brian, Mariella, Hope Group. So glad that we're all here together. And that this wonderful affinity group, practice group, where we get to not just talk about, but practice. What's important? Connection, naming hard things. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the themes of today is avoidance. And just like avoiding grief can be so hard on the mind and the heart, and likewise avoiding uh, the things that matter to us. For some of us, it's opening envelopes. For some of us, it's doing the laundry or taxes or replying back and saying, yes, I will accept that job offer. And for some reason, it's been 7 weeks and I can't bring myself to reply to the job offer. They're offering it to me. And it's been 7 weeks. And I told my best friend because I thought that he'd be understanding. And he said, what are you, some kind of idiot? Why don't you just reply back and say, yes, I'll take the job? So, and then the shame and the blame and the yuckiness that follows. I guess I am. I guess I don't know how to do this life. I guess I'm not much of an adult after all. So I'm really glad that we get to talk about this today. And I hope it's helpful. If I say anything or I share anything that is, well, there may be some things that aren't helpful. If I say anything that causes any harm, please know that that's not my intention. Um, yeah, just wanted to say that up front. Yeah. Okie dokie. So let me share my screen. I've got some slides that I hope will be interesting. Wait a minute. Let me share my screen. Brian, talking to myself. It's never a good sign. Brian.
But it's
Oh,
not. Okay, got
is
it.
it okay? Thanks. Thanks, Maria. Okay, everyone. Let me just move this up here. And okay, fantastic. So, feelings of unmet potential, mindfulness, procrastination, deep suffering. And by the way, that quote comes from feedback from, goodness, thousands of people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people who work with one specific expert in the field, Lynn Idris, who I'll talk about in a moment. And she said that of the thousands of people that she's worked with in her life as a counselor, coach, mentor, group facilitator, expert, she said that the number two most common complaint that people have in their lives, the number two is procrastination. I would have thought it would have been number one. But she said that while number two, the second most common refrain she hears from people is that they procrastinate. She said that the number one most common complaint from people is a feeling of unmet potential in their life. I'm not stupid, okay? I just can't get the the refrigerator cleaned. Feelings of unmet potential. I think that's very well said. And I'd like to reference two people. The first I'll talk about that I already mentioned, Lynn. I'll talk about her in a moment. This is Dr. Garrett O'Connor, who is an expert, a doctor, an expert in the fields of substance use and addiction, as well as procrastination. He has a lot of great information out there. He passed away. He died in 2015. And his work and his research and the people that he's touched are still benefiting from that, as am I. So I'll reference some of his work today and some of his words. Dr. Garrett O'Connor. And then this is Lynn Idris, who is really a wonderful, person, but also an expert in her field of procrastination and executive functioning. And some people use the term ADHD. Some people use the term or the phrase busy brain uh, in that sphere. And she's a wonderful person. I encourage people to check out her work. But first, cute animals. We're about to get into some, I think, a little bit uncomfortable topics. Procrastination is one of these topics that I don't know about you, but it makes me uncomfortable because I can relate to almost all of it. So first, please gaze upon these cute animals of the sea. And this little creature is, I know, it's my favorite part too. I think deep suffering needs to be balanced with cute animals, like a fine wine. There needs to be pairing of animals and topics. Anyways, this little cutie. Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'll put her name in the chat for sure. And by the way, if anybody wants these slides, you can email me and I'll send it to you because I've got quite a bit in here. So, oh, oh, hello, swimming. I hear in like the background, dun 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 dun, dun synchronized penguin dancing, dun 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 dun. Dun. Incredible seahorses, incredible. It's incredible. There's horses on land and the water. Amazing. This little creature is not under the water, but on the top. I just want to remind everyone that there are cute animals above the water as well. Please don't forget. And there's cute animals at the very bottom. Otter. I haven't seen that octopus documentary, but I want to. Apparently, I need to bring a box of tissues with me when I see it. Apparently, there's a lot of crying, but I'm looking forward to it. And finally, the beautiful, majestic, massive whales. These beautiful creatures that have been around for a very long time, just minding their business, swimming along. But I like that picture. It's very pretty. And the reason I'm showing you 3 photos of whales is that some of you may have heard that just this past week, there's some articles almost everywhere. It's a big story and deserves to be. Dr. Roger Payne, Payne, who died. And Dr. Payne is a marine biologist in 1967. He was the first person to discover and record and analyze and publish and prove that whales sing. Prior to 1967, we did not know that. And as a result, we know things about whales that are remarkable. For example, they often sing in with like in music, there's a verse and a harmony and then a refrain. Whales have the same thing. Whales have melody, and then they'll change the melody and then return to the original melody. And I was going to play this tune, but unfortunately we don't have time today. But there's amazing things that we've learned about whales, all because of Dr. Payne. So I just want to honor him and his life's work. Okay, on to procrastination, which is a topic that affects many of us. And maybe some of you have had this happen when you're talking to someone about procrastination. All of a sudden, you or the other person or both start giggling, kind of that nervous laughter because it's sort of a me too, and maybe can we move on to a different topic? I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. So it comes from one of the origins of the word derivation. I'm not sure that's the right word. Now I'm trying to sound smart. Originally comes from the Latin word procrastinatus, and the prefix pro meaning forward, and crastinus meaning of tomorrow. We'll put it off until tomorrow. Tomorrow. Sounds like Shakespeare. Merriam-Webster's definition to put off intentionally, and now intentionally is something I'm going to keep coming back to in this presentation, to put off intentionally doing something that should be done. Now that's the official definition. And that's where one of the big problems starts, is the official definition includes intentionality. But is that true? Not for all of us, not for most of us. And here is a very good visual representation of procrastination, in my opinion. Whoops. And then the next day may be the same thing. So moving or acting slowly as to fall behind, And it implies, again, blameworthiness, blameworthy delay, especially through laziness or apathy. Again, this is the sort of definition that's bouncing around a lot of our heads' mind. There's also, from our word procrastination, comes from the Greek word akrasia, probably pronouncing that wrong. And this is a word meaning someone who intentionally chooses not to do something that should be done. So I usually don't do this because it's recorded, but I would like to ask for a little audience participation in the chat, which won't mean anyone will be shown. But I would like, if you're open to it, the dozen of us or so, please put in the chat, what are some words you think of when you hear the word procrastination, when you think of someone who's procrastinating? Let's see some words. And I just look, otter. Otter could have, no, I'm just being silly. What are some words that you think of when you hear the word procrastination, or someone? There we go. Lazy, fearful, avoidance, otter, suffering. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna add this too. I feel stuck. Okay. Any others? Shame. Yeah. Unpleasant. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you all. Exactly. Oh, yep. Society for sure says lazy, and we're going to come to that in a few minutes. See, I'm not trying to be complacency, overwhelmed. I'm not trying to be lazy, but my, my partner calls me lazy. I don't feel lazy. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, thanks everyone for this. This is really great. So now moving on, yes, lazy or not inclined to work. These are the perceptions, and this is some of the judgments thrown on other people, and sometimes we throw onto ourselves. Weak, willfully disobedient, defiant. Thank you. Unfocused. Yeah, unfocused. Uncooperative. Again, this concept of well, doing something against our better judgment, willful. And again, this idea of intention, which now I'll come to this point. Intention. Is it really true that we are trying to not open the envelopes? And of course, intention implies willfulness and choice. And of course, I mean, for so many things, money, appointments, jobs, dating, so many things that in my life I've procrastinated about. And so there's so many strong negative connotations and strong undertones of moral judgment when we use the word procrastination. And we talked about the etymology, the origin of the word, which sort of makes sense that it's passed down to us. And there's a lot of finger pointing and finger wagging about procrastination. Get up. We have a million things to do. Ooh, thank you. Non-compliant. Why would we do a million things when we can do zero things? Now, this photo here, we don't know exactly what kind of, and I'm going to come to this, maybe two different broad categories of procrastination. So there are absolutely times where we are making conscious decisions to not do something. And sort of the who cares, you know, who cares? Who cares if it was my brother's birthday this past week. Wait, this past week? Yeah, this past week. And I mean, I love my brother. He's awesome. He's a great guy. Perhaps if when I was reminded that it was his birthday that day, and I thought, ugh, who cares? Ugh, whatever. That, and then I maybe do it later in the day, or I do it the day after. That is a very different. And by the way, the answer to that one is just, if it's a willful decision, then okay, well, that's not really, I think, where we're going to spend most of our time talking today. It's not the who cares. It is the I'm stuck. I want to text him. I want to call him. I want to I know that I need to open the letter from the gas company. I know it, but I'm stuck. And that kind of procrastination, which is not willful, is where many of us feel the most blame and shame and isolating. It's very, very hard. And as the hourglass sand of time keeps rolling, and we think, what's wrong with me? And here's another theme that I think many of us can relate to, this idea of the speculative space. You know, if I never reply to that job offer, I want to take the job. But if I never reply to that job offer, in my mind, it can forever exist in this sort of either or space. You know, if I fantasize about saying yes, getting the job, having um, a party when I join the office, getting a bonus after 6 months, getting a job pay raise, and then also I simultaneously I also have another space in which I say no to the job offer, and then I go out and I become a I don't know, a bungee jumping instructor. And I can have both of these happening at the same time. And yet I'm sitting at the computer and I haven't replied either way. So we can live in a speculative space. And I don't want to keep the slide on here for too long because many of us know this view all too well. And I heard this said by someone. They said, reality is not my favorite topic. Yeah. Yeah. And as I mentioned before, there are times where it's conscious. I don't care. I don't care about this person's birth. I do care about my brother's birthday. Different example, but I don't care. Versus I'm stuck. I don't even know what's going on. What's wrong with me? And again, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Ugh, what's wrong? Everybody else thinks I'm doing it on purpose. I really don't know what to do about these envelopes. 6 months, and I haven't opened an envelope. And finally, here, just to reiterate this point again and again, shame and guilt, shame and blame. And as I think everyone in this group knows, knows or suspects, the feelings of shame are so paralyzing. And, as the wonderful Brene Brown talks about in her research and in her education and her outreach around the world, guilt is, I made a mistake. We can learn from guilt. I made a mistake. Shame is I am a mistake. And I am a mistake of procrastination. Everybody thinks I'm doing it on purpose. I guess I really am a garbage. And it's very hard to get any kind of traction from that place. It's so hard to be creative when we're in a place of shame and blame. And here's just a little friendly reminder. You may have put this together already on your own that the word procrastination is very loaded term. And for some people, using the word stuck or using the word overwhelmed can be helpful because I'm stuck. Cars get stuck. People get stuck. Ovens get stuck. Well, maybe not. I don't know if anybody's ever used the word stuck to refer to an oven, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And here's another point that I just want to name. I'm a social worker, so I often think about a strengths-based approach, but maybe it also makes sense too. I am expecting that this job offer and then the reply and then the orientation documents and then the forms to fill out and then driving to a new job and to meeting new people and I guess I have to take a shower for my new job. Yuck. All of this thing is going to require energy, right? And so there's also the adaptive quality to procrastination, which is I'm conserving energy. I'm conserving energy before. And so I just also wanted to name that it also makes sense that we hold back. And so I'd like to go through a few, again, I never got a class on this, so I did want to share some information, sort of the nuts and bolts. Maybe some of you can resonate with this. Maybe this will spark some interest, and some of you will go off and do some uh, investigation. Remember, mindfulness is not just about awareness that arises through, I know there's four, right? Awareness that arises through paying attention, number one, on purpose, number two, in the present moment, number three, non-judgmentally, number four. So mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And then remember, the end of that definition, which got left off for a while, but now is back, is in the service of self-understanding and wisdom. That's why that's why. Mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, in the service of self-understanding and wisdom. So maybe this presentation will spur some of you on to, yeah, look at and the self-understanding, the self-wisdom from this. Okay. 7 steps of procrastination. These are the steps that many of us find ourselves in. Number 1, indifference. I was really going to try not to curse on this, but guess what? It's time to start cursing. Fuck it. Now, I'll add some solutions here for those of us that are in fuck it. Try to put all your assignments on your calendar. Great way to do it. This way you'll know which ones you need to start now and which ones you can hold off on. Yeah. Again, just offering these as just naming some of these. So indifference. Number 2, denial. No, 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 no. No, I don't want to go to the dentist. And maybe when you start to realize that the due date is approaching, dentist is coming up, or dentist is not a good example, by the way. When you start to realize the due date is approaching for when I have to reply to the job offer, start now. Maybe try doing a little bit. Maybe open the email. Maybe start a draft going. Just start the draft. Chances are when you start doing the assignment, it's going to be hard for you to stop. Or, yeah. Number 3, realization. Oh, I'm going to curse again. Oh, shit. I think a lot of us know that oh, shit moment. And when we get to the oh, shit, this really is, as it says here, the procrastinator's worst enemy. They put off work even if it's really close to the deadline. So try to force yourself to do work on the project, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Currently, I do 10-minute increments. That feels good for me. And yeah, once you start, and maybe you're going to want to maintain that flow. Number 4, fuck. Okay, I'm going to stop cursing. Panic. And panic is totally normal. It is. Of course, panic can be paralyzing. And again, remember that fear and panic, which part of our birthright, this is, it's in our DNA, and connection is very helpful for that. Reaching out to someone, letting them know I'm so stuck and I'm terrified. And yes, how you can get unstuck, maybe waiting for motivation doesn't really work for many of us, but momentum, call someone, reach out. Bargaining. And this stage can be dangerous. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on because I've got a few more things. Number 6, stress. Stress. This is, many of us get, stress. And yeah, taking a deep breath. Okay, I'm going to move on. And number 7, the finish line, which is hard. Okay, I've got a little bit more that I want to get to. And I just wanted to name this piece here, that some of us get to the end of the delay, adrenaline, work, crash cycle. And we just say, you know what? I just need to be done. I'll take anything, whatever. And it's just the exhaustion at the end of these procrastination cycles. And some of us have swore, I'll never do it again. I'm never going to run a marathon again. Never, ever, ever, ever again. And yeah, to repeat what we said before, procrastination does protect the individual from anxiety connected to a potential evaluation, a date maybe, a job interview, the potential evaluation of our performance or competence. I don't want to turn this in. Then I may find out. This is one of the most common examples. Some of the big ones is people writing their will. People put their will off to, well, some people never do it, but it's very common for people to not want to put together their will in their last testament for some obvious reasons. Most people don't like thinking about their own mortality, and for other reasons too, like just procrastination. Dental care, very common. Medical care, getting a therapist, 12-step sponsor, maybe having a sponsor but haven't started the steps yet. Really anything that makes us feel uncomfortable. And remember, fear is so hard for us as humans. We're programmed to run when we feel fear. Some of us have learned to fight when we feel fear. Some of us freeze. But feeling uncomfortable is terrifying. And some of you may have seen this before, the map of procrastination. I like Napland personally. And again, shame and blame. Nothing good comes from that place of shame and blame. And sure, there are quick fixes. A lot of money to be made on quick fixes. And shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with these. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with, I mean, this is great. Reminders. Oh, I'm just looking at the bottom right. And by the way, if anybody wants these slides, email me and I'll send them to you. I looked at the bottom right, the very, very bottom right. It has a star. It's in small type and it said, habits are not about results. How interesting. Habits are not about results. So all kinds of good stuff out there in the world. Of course, there's still the emotions, which is very hard. Again, connection is one of the best antidotes to feeling stuck and overwhelmed. And I'm just going to speed through this and then we're going to get to the open sharing and connection. There are different types of procrastinations, and I invite people to look into this. See what kind of procrastinator you are. There are the daredevils. That's me. I've got some of that in me. You like to live dangerously, only starting to work when the deadline is looming. You think you show grace under pressure, but the end result is rushed work. It's full of errors. And some tips. The self-saboteur. You're your own worst enemy, putting obstacles in your path to stop yourself working. And that way you can say it's not your fault, rewarding yourself for a job left undone. Next, the ostrich. You'd like to stick your head in the sand and ignore the tasks at hand, avoiding having to make decisions. If you don't make a decision, then you don't risk failing or being judged. I have this one a lot, a lot, a lot. Number 4 of 5, chicken. With so many choices, how are you supposed to decide? By the time you've made up your mind, it's too late. You feel like you may as well put it off and let someone else choose. Just tell me what to do. And finally, the perfectionist. You'll settle for nothing less than perfection, which is essentially impossible. You're ruled by what others think of you, delaying work until you can be sure other people won't criticize it. And again, these feelings of unmet potential. I'm not stupid. I'm not. I'm not stupid. I'm not doing this on purpose. And I feel like I could be so much more. I feel like I could do more and be more. I just don't, I'm stuck. And so I'd like to end with where many of our talks end, which is the importance of connection. The shame and the blame associated with procrastination makes many of us not want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about that I haven't bought myself new clothes in 2 years. I don't want to talk about it that I haven't thrown away all the newspaper there. It's there. It's ready to go into the garbage can. I'm just putting it off. And if we can share about it, or we can listen to other people sharing and say, me too, that shame, that blame, you know, uh, shame can't grow shame can only grow in the darkness. Shame can only grow in the darkness. So sharing about this and connecting, finding out we're not, we're not broken. We're stuck. We're not willfully, it's not willful for many of us. It isn't. And this is another friendly reminder very quickly. How do we create safe spaces in reality, in this reality, not the speculative state that many of us live in? And I'll have this here. I've said it a few times, but I'd like to say it again. This is how we operate in the H.O.P.E group, and this is true for all safe spaces. All safe spaces have these qualities in common. Safety leads to softening. Softening leads to trust. Trust leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability leads to authenticity. And authenticity leads to intimacy. And then when we can share and listen and be present for our lives. And we cultivate safe space here in a number of ways. Relaxing and breathing easefully. Speaking from the heart, which we'll do in a moment. Deep listening. Active presence. Confidentiality. Not giving people advice unless they ask for it. Not judging or interpreting other people's life for them. Not interrupting people so that we can feel safe. And maybe all healing comes from connection and comes from community. And as we sit together over Zoom and we listen together and talk together, and sometimes it may not look like we're doing much, but we are. We are being productive. We are being present for our lives. And thank goodness we don't have to do this life alone. And we don't have to rely on that old motto that brought many of us sometimes into holes, sometimes into ditches, sometimes into craters. That motto that some of us have been living with for our whole lives, which is figure it out, Brian. Just figure it out on your own. And instead, maybe figure it out isn't the only philosophy that we need. Maybe connection, connecting with other people who get it, connecting with ourselves, and connecting to this one precious life. This is not the rehearsal. This is it. This is the show. And the connection that helps us feel safe enough to face what really matters in our lives. And with that, I will say thank you all so much for your kind attention. I do appreciate it. And now I'm looking forward to community.